afternoon, Evan. How are you today,
Well,
kid?
Aaron Boone's luck ran out. We used to always have him on after wins, after good things were occurring. That is not the case today.
He is at least coming in off an off day.
Yeah.
A little buffer.
A little bit.
24-hour buffer.
Yeah, he's also coming off of an eighth inning of hell.
Yeah.
An eighth inning that goes into the memory bank as one of the worst eighth innings you've ever seen.
They've had
he's
a
coming
few
off
of
that
lately, too. The eighth and ninth inning is like, the Yankees are the only team that should beg for 7-inning games because if they only played 7, they might be in first place. And here's what's crazy. After a just brutal start to the series, and then the Garrett Cole loss, right? You're saying to yourself, down 3-1, they're going to get swept. Forget about it. And I know that's getting ahead of ourselves, but I felt the same way I think every Yankee fan felt down 3-1. We're going to lose the first 3 games of the series, meaning the last game, who even cares at that point? Because we're so ticked off about it. And then the Yankees do something magical.
Yeah.
Huge late inning comeback. They steal game 3. You get 7 innings of no-hit action from Domingo Germán. We're going to split the series.
Yeah.
And the way it started, we're going to go into Tampa saying to ourselves, hey, we did okay. We survived.
You said going into this series, they got to win this series. They got to sweep this series. But with the way they won Saturday and the lead they had on Sunday, you're right. We would have sat here today off a split and said, all right. Things are moving in the right direction.
100% right.
And that eighth inning, and I tweeted this the other day, and I really feel this way. We've been joking about the Mount Rushmore of Yankee losses this year because they've had some bad ones. I thought what we saw Sunday is George Washington on steroids.
Yeah, I
that
know.
was
Every time there's like a terrible collapse like that, we say that's the one.
No, this is it, though. No, I'm serious.
This
is it. You have a no-hitter in the eighth inning against the Red Sox from Domingo Germán.
Well, to be fair, through 7.
Well, into the eighth inning. Okay.
Right.
That's through
like
7.
They weren't really in the eighth inning with
Yes,
the no-hitter.
it was.
Because the first guy hit a double.
Doesn't matter. He starts the eighth inning with a no-hitter.
Yes.
And then when he gives up the hit, you're thinking, okay, I still got my bullpen 6 outs away. All right, no-hitter didn't happen. I don't think any Yankee fan really thought he was necessarily going to throw a no-hitter. And then the meltdown. And then the moves that Boone did make or didn't make that leave you scratching your head. And losses like that and innings like that make you go back to every other part of that game, like Giancarlo with the bases loaded, and overanalyze it. But either way, and look, I don't know how the season's going to end. Could they win a wild card spot? Sure. But that game on Sunday has a chance to be the exclamation point on one of the most disappointing seasons we've ever seen from this franchise.
Yeah, I think we have to we got to wrap your head around the fact that they're not winning the division.
Oh, that's gone.
Like, let's just, mathematically, yeah, okay, I acknowledge they're alive. If they went on some great August run and you pulled out some 25-6 record out of their ass.
Because it's 2
but
teams,
it's not going to happen.
Here's the difference. They're not
but
9.
You're right. But forget about Tampa, forget about Toronto, forget about the Red Sox. I'm just talking the Yankees in a vacuum.
Right.
The Yankees are not good enough to go on one of those runs. Their bullpen sucks. Their best players, now take Judge out because of the COVID, talent-wise on a piece of paper, are not clutch, are not hitting on any type of rate with any type of regularity. The Yankees just aren't good enough to go on that kind of run.
And you know what? Right now, when you look at the standings, the positive in you would say they're really close to the second wild card.
What's it, 3.5?
They're 3.5 back. They're 2 in the loss column. They're right there. From a mathematical standpoint, they are legitimately in the wild card race. There's no dispute.
Agreed.
But everything you just said, plus, is why I don't think they're winning a wild card spot either.
I won't say that yet. I won't go that far because, 2 games in the loss column.
But it's not about that.
Yeah,
it's not about the math.
You think they're getting Trevor Story? I mean, you think they're making a move? I don't know.
No. My answer to that is no. I don't think Brian Cashman's going to make a big move unless you think acquiring Clay Holmes from the Pirates is a big move. There's just so many ways they've lost this year and so many things about this team that make me wonder if they will finish with a better record than the Oakland A's, the Seattle Mariners, and the Toronto Blue Jays. And they have to do that.
And that's the interesting thing because they're good enough to be in it. They're going to be relevant for a wild card spot. I think we'd all agree on that. But they're not good enough to win the way they're currently constituted. So, listen, and I say that because with the trade deadline coming up, they're a diehard Yankee fan, rightfully so, much like a Met fan should and any other team that's in contention, is going to want their team to go out of their way to make themselves better because you don't have to win a division to win a World Series. Now, do any one of us sitting here today think the Yankees are going out there and making a major splash? Doesn't seem like it.
No, but what they need to do if they make a, quote, major splash is anybody they acquire has to be a part of their future plans. They cannot rent a player. Now, when we talk about the Mets, it's completely different. In a way, you almost prefer to rent a player. But in the Yankee case, it can't be a rental because they have to make a move that, gives them a better chance to win this year. Maybe they do win a wild card spot. Maybe they get hot. Maybe they go on a postseason run. But it has to be a part of next year. It reminds me of what the Mets did a few years ago. When they traded for Marcus Stroman, they were sort of in the race.
Right.
But the reason why it was a good deal, at least in my opinion, Craig, was they got him, for that year, but also under control next year.
Right.
Trevor Story doesn't fit that. He's a free agent at the end of the year. If you plan on signing Trevor Story, then why the hell would you give up any assets? Just sign him as a free agent. Joey Gallo is signed next year. You want to go after him? Fine. But I think any move the Yankees make, in my opinion, with where they are in the standings, need to be about, okay, this makes me better now, but what does it do for me in 2022?
I think if you sign a guy like Story, it's a move out of desperation and a move you're doing to appease your fan
Well,
base.
then you can't do it.
Well, no, the Yankees can afford it. We all know that. But if you're saying, let me get Trevor Story because he makes me infinitely better in a lot of ways, and I recognize I'm no lock to bring him in next year, but let me do it because it shuts everybody up, and at the same time, does make me better for the final 2.5 months.
You don't make trades to shut people up.
I do.
Yeah, well, that's why you're not a
Listen,
GM.
That's why I'm on this side of the microphone. I don't work for the New York
Dude,
Yankees.
you
so
make
if
a
I'm-
trade.
listen, memo to the Yankees.
Yes.
On behalf of all Yankee fans, shut us up.
Well, who do you want? Who would shut you up?
Well, now you're
I'm
asking
curious.
questions I can't answer.
Well, no, I'm curious. Like, there's going to be a lot of action over the next 3 or 4 days. And I have said this about the Mets.
I want Trevor Story.
You do?
For all Yankee fans.
That's the guy you want.
Yeah, that's right.
That would shut you up.
That would shut me up a little bit.
Even if you're giving up top prospects
I
for a
don't
guy
buy-
who's a free agent
you know,
at the end of the year.
Let me say this about prospects.
You don't care?
Are just that prospects.
I get that.
And to me, they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, but what if they turn into something?
Well, then I'll deal with that, when I deal with it, right?
Okay.
And I'll give you the prime example.
The
of that.
White Sox traded for Nado Tatis Jr. for James Shields. You think they're dealing with that right now?
They're not happy about it. They're probably drunk at night saying, why? Why? But prospects come and go. We all know that.
So you don't care who they give up?
I don't give
Just
a-
go get
for-
me Trevor Story.
Well,
I'm happy.
Let me say this. First off, full transparency in this show. It's what this show is all about. I don't know any of their prospects other than the guys that have recently come up, right? Like
You know the
Florial.
Martian, Jason Dominguez. You know him.
Yeah, but yes, I do know him.
Okay, good.
But I don't know a lot of them.
All right.
And I do know there's no such thing as a guarantee. Case in point, come on, with Seattle, that all you Met fans were going crazy about when he hit a double in his second game. So I don't care about prospects. I really don't. Prospects to me, here's how I equate prospects.
Mm-hmm.
Oranges. They're oranges on a tree.
Okay.
Those are prospects. You know what? Next year, there's going to be a new orange. And there's going to be a new prospect that we all go crazy about because some scout in the Dominican said, this kid's the best
So
shortstop
you
I've
would
ever
just
seen.
say, I don't give a damn what prospects we give up.
I don't.
Get me good baseball
Yeah.
players until it starts with Trevor
Because
Story.
I'm out 2
Okay.
games from the postseason.
Okay.
So I'm going to go get a guy that's going to help me make up that 2-game gap.
Okay.
And I'm going to roll the dice that I get into the postseason, I make some noise.
If I
that's
know,
all I can do.
If I know I'm going to re-sign him, like I already have talked to Hal, and Hal told me, look, go get me a real shortstop next year because God knows Gleyber Torres is going to move to another position. And I got a long list of guys available. Javier Baez, Trevor Story,
Yeah.
Corey Seager. We all know the list. Then I get it. Trade for him now. You're going to re-sign him, and you're giving up those prospects for the 2-month hope that this will be enough to get you guys going. I do understand
all
that
right.
more.
So we're on
but
the
it's
same
got to
page
be
on that.
long term because this is this team good enough to win a World Series?
Today, no. I don't think
Does
they
Trevor
are.
Story make them good enough to win a World Series?
They still need pitching. They need desperate
okay.
back of the bullpen help in a manner which I don't know that I've ever seen before.
By the
It's
way,
fascinating.
the back of the bullpen help is fascinating to me from a different standpoint. This has been the strength of the Yankees for the last 4 years. Chad Green, Zach Britton, Aroldis Chapman, Jonathan Loaisiga. Like, this is a good bullpen on paper.
Yeah.
The problem is Loizaga and Green, I'll use them specifically. They've had good years. They've had meltdowns.
Yeah, major.
And the problem is, and we'll address it head on with the manager, when you notice one of your guys is having a meltdown,
Yeah.
get him out of the freaking game,
except
dude.
for one thing.
What?
And this is apparently the new thing in sports now.
What?
What are you going to do if Chad Green comes out and goes having some mental issues with the 8th inning? Sorry.
Well, his issues in the 9th inning, but yes, I understand.
I'm having some issues. The pressure of the 8th inning is getting to me, and I'm doing the best I can. Please don't be upset with me. There's just too much pressure to be on the mound in the 8th inning. That's the direction it's going. Because you can't, it stops everyone. Boom! Right in your tracks. As soon as someone says that, and we're going to hear much more of it, I think, in the days and weeks to come, and I'm not even saying it's not real. I'm saying that he has, a lot of these Yankee pitchers now have some kind of block. There's something going on, right? And as soon as you use that as the answer to your question, my question, his question, everyone's question of why, that's the answer.
No one's given that answer.
Stop it. All you
Not yet. I haven't heard that. Like,
listen,
when we
ask me why we did a bad show today.
Why do we have a bad show
There's too
today?
much pressure on.
I thought you were going to say Evan's fault.
No, well, that too. There's just so much pressure being the face of the station, the voice of the station, and being asked to resuscitate afternoons and bring the station back to its glory. It's all on my shoulders, and there are times it gets to me, Evan. Boop! Stop in your tracks, frozen like the Iceman got you. That's it. And it's real sometimes, and fans don't want to hear it. And that's the other side of it, is that it is real. And no fan of a team sport wants to hear it. So it'll be interesting how the last 2.5 months play out when there is clearly a problem with Aroldis Chapman, with Chad Green now. I'm not going to put Britton into that because he was hurt the whole year.
Britton did his job on Sunday.
Yeah.
Who
So
didn't do
those
their
two
job
guys.
is having your infield back. That was the problem. Zach Britton did his job.
Listen, we'll get into all of it with you. 877-337-6666. It's Carton and Roberts on the Fan. We got lots cooking today. Listen, nobody ever pays attention to gymnastics other than the Olympics. We know this. And now gymnastics, amazingly, is the number one story globally in sports because the greatest gymnast of all time, at least for our country, maybe for any country, withdrew from the Olympics, citing, mental health and the pressure of kind of carrying the torch for her country. We'll get into it because it's a fascinating conversation to chat about, and it transcends gymnastics. It's what I'm alluding to about the direction that some athletes are going. Very, very real, very, very tangible, and hard to put your finger on it at the same time. So we'll get into that conversation with you as well. The New York Mets, we didn't forget about you. Maybe you're going to score a couple runs this month. We're going to find out later on in the show. Evan's going to break that down for us. 3 runs total between two teams. 3 runs total in 14 innings. Always in baseball fun to watch.
I thought it was very entertaining. I'm not going to lie to you. I really did.
I know you did. I'm like, you wake me up when it's over. And Evan's sitting there going, this is awesome.